What's up, y'all? I'm back out here at the range, as you can see, on what's turned out to be a windy day. We got some clouds clearing out. It's been cloudy all doggone day, which has been nice, actually, keeping that sun from heating me up out here. Temperature, I don't think, maybe it's barely hit 70 degrees, but now the clouds are clearing out. We've traded it for some wind, but either way, one or the other should keep that sun calm. So far, I've gotten a couple of interesting tests done out here today, and this one right here is one I'm really looking forward to. It should be a very interesting 45 ACP test. So of course we got the jelly contraption out here with a couple of chronos and 2 blocks of gel. Now I've done a couple of tests in these so far. I kept it all at the back side, so we got plenty of room up here in the front. I will leave a couple of links above if y'all hadn't seen these other tests. I've got my heavy clothing barrier, of course, with a layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we got here for this one is a sure enough absolute blast from the past. We're looking at the CCI Lawman 200 grain jacketed hollow point in 45 ACP. Now these were sent to me by Mike, so I really want to thank him for that, because this is some stuff you can't even get anymore as far as I'm aware. I looked all over and I could barely find any info for it, and this was an actual sealed new old stock box. Now for those of y'all who don't know, this is the actual, sure enough, OG Flying Ashtray, the CCI Lawman number 3965. This is the Flying Ashtray. Now from a little bit of info I could find on it, the claim to fame of these right here is it was the first reliably expanding jacketed hollow point in 45 ACP. Now I did a bunch of looking around, but I could not find any ballistics on this stuff. I couldn't find any kind of velocity listed, any kind of test barrel or anything, so we going into this one completely blind. Here's a look at the cartridge. No nickel plating, but you got a super aggressive case cantilever on that thing, so I don't think you would ever risk any kind of setback of the projectile. And then there you see the famous namesake, that really big old opening on that projectile looking like a big ashtray. Now again, I didn't find any kind of ballistics as far as test barrel or anything, so I'm assuming this would have been tested from a 5-inch barrel. I've got a couple of different links here. Y'all know I always like to throw a shorty in just to see what happens. So we've got the G30 here with the 3.8-inch barrel, and then for a full size I've got my Rock Island 1911 with the 5-inch barrel. So this should be really interesting. I'm very curious to see how this goes. If I was guessing, I would probably say we're not going to get very good performance out of this stuff, just based on some of the other legendary type rounds like the Black Talons, the original Norma 10 mil. Both of those were really disappointing compared to the legendary status that they held. But I sure do hope these right here are a different story. Let's get it all set up and see what happens. All right, let's see what kind of velocity we get out of these legends. I'm going to do a 5-round average from each barrel length, starting with this G30 first. Now, if y'all aren't familiar with my lab radar, like I always explain, you're going to get multiple velocity readings. The large number is right here at the muzzle, and then I've got 5 across the bottom. The first one there is set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is here at 10 feet, and then I've got the others set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. Now remember, I got no ballistics on this stuff, so it's going to be a complete mystery. If I was guessing, just being that it's one of them old legendary rounds and they just hadn't been impressive, I'm going to guess 750. I'm just going to go that low on it just because I think that's where it's going to be. 873, 859, 871, 861, and 849. So definitely not as low as I thought. I was probably being a little too stingy right there. Let's check out the average and see what we got. All right, so our 5-round average right there from the shorty barrel was 863 feet per second. We had an extreme spread of 24 with a 9.9 standard deviation. So nice consistency out of this old stuff. 863. I mean, now I'm even more kind of iffy. I don't really know which way to guess as far as how that projectile is going to perform, because that is a little bit faster than I thought we was going to see, but it is a very basic old design projectile. But we'll find out here in a minute. First, let's get the velocity out of that 1911. All right, let's see how much this 5-inch wakes it up. $891, 916, 908, 912, and 887. So definitely sped it up. Let's check out that average. All right, so we broke 900 that time. We had a 5-round average of 903, a 29 extreme spread with a 13 standard deviation. So again, pretty good consistency, especially figuring the age of this stuff. 903, I mean, again, I'm kind of right there. I feel like that's right there on the edge of actually getting performance from a pretty decent projectile. And again, this being very basic, older technology, I'm pretty iffy on it. But 1903 here, and if you remember on that G30, it was 863. So you're talking about 40 FPS difference. That sounds about right considering the barrel length for a heavier 45 ACP. So again, I'm not sure what kind of performance we get out of this stuff. It's definitely gonna be a mystery, but let's get it all set up. Y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's ashes to ashes jelly time. I'm gonna put one from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this G30 first. Again, I'm not sure what to think. If I had to guess, I would say we're not getting any expansion. I've got the high-tech towel down there just in case to catch it, but hopefully I am wrong. All right, I'm not sure what happened there. Let me go check it out. All right, y'all, that's definitely disappointing, but pretty much what I expected down there. As far as this 1911, I don't think this is going to be any different. I don't think this little bit of velocity difference is going to make a difference. I think that looks exactly the same. Let's go check his stuff out. All right, let's check out what we got down here, y'all. A big old double disappointment is what we actually got here. Very, very disappointing with both of these rounds. As you can see, no expansion from either one. They look almost exactly the same, but the top one here, that was from the G30. As you can see, it comes in here straight line. There's absolutely no expansion at all. It might have tumbled right there. It's hard to really say. Probably not though, because it's facing forward. So into this second block here, probably, I'm gonna say 3, 4, maybe 5 inches, and you got absolutely no expansion, and you probably got no expansion because of clogging. I can see a big old chunk of cloth right there that came out the front of it. And then below that, same story. This is the one from the 1911, comes in here again, absolute straight line, no kind of real disruption, no expansion at all. Now you did get a little bit of a flaring area right here that does kind of look like tumbling. Could be tumbling there, or it could have tumbled once it crossed over into here, or it could have tumbled because it got so close to this, because it did get so close to this other projectile, it kind of drug it down off of its track. So it could have tumbled around right there, but in either case, it's sitting down here backwards, and again, absolutely no expansion, and I think I can see a bunch of cloth stuffed in the end of it. And then as far as penetration on them, the one on the top from the G30, that one is exactly 20.5 inches. Then the one below it from the 1911 is at 20.75 inches. So a little bit further there, but really, you know, there's no expansion, so you can't say that's good performance. But we have mentioned a lot of times that it started out as a 45 caliber. So if you put that in the right place, it's more than likely gonna get the job done. And then here's your close look. Again, nothing really to see here. Absolute straight line performance. Again, you got a couple of little flaring areas, especially on that bottom one, how it's kind of flared. I don't know if that's where it spun around, but you can see here, it made that top projectile pull down a little bit, and that bottom one is sitting backwards, and I'm pretty sure I'm seeing quite a bit of cloth there. From the top, same thing. Again, really nothing to look at. Absolute straight line performance all the way through. All right, let's take a look at these projectiles, y'all. Nothing good to see here, but definitely some stuff to see here. As you can see, they both were, sure enough, slam full of cloth. I mean, packed full of cloth in there. I'm not sure even which is which anymore, but I mean, you can see it's got the denim, the fleece, and some of the t-shirt, a little bit of all of it. Same way with this one. I mean, it's packed in there too, buddy. Same thing there. You can see there's no doubt what happened there. It just packed full of cloth. So, I mean, it might be a great big old ashtray size opening, but it really don't matter if it's just more room to fill up with cloth. So obviously no deformation at all there. No attempted expansion. The only deformation you got, a couple little nicks there. I'm assuming that's where the other one backed into this one, and that little dent is where it backed into it there. So other than that, absolutely zero performance from these. But let's get us a few measurements anyway, since we've got them pulled. As far as the weight, they both started at 200. This one is at 199.6, so no loss there. I don't see anything in the gel. How could it have lost anything? And this one here is at 200.0, so absolutely no loss because they really didn't do anything to lose any material. And then as far as size, this is just gonna be another base diameter and length on them. You got 450 with a length of 549. And here again, you got 450 with a length of 548. And there you go, y'all, another trip back in time to check out a legendary round that by today's standards is not very legendary at all. I'm hoping one of these days I'll run across one of these legendary rounds that actually live up to the legend, but today definitely wasn't it. Velocity wise, I mean, 200 grain, that's light for velocity. I mean, I can't make any excuses. It's light for velocity. The technology of the rounds just weren't there at the time. For these to be the first reliably expanding 45 ACP, they must have had some vastly different test conditions, maybe no heavy cloth. I don't know what the deal was, but as you can plainly see from this test out here, these are not the way. All right, y'all, I don't think that was the performance that any of us were hoping to see, but now we know. I think this is just a simple case of these rounds being behind the times. They're a little slow as far as velocity. The big old opening on that big ashtray HP didn't help anything because as you can see, it clogged, slam up. 45 ACP, as y'all know, especially from a short barrel, can already be finicky if you're trying to get an HP to expand well. So the low velocity and just the poor design of the HP did not help this situation at all. So this would normally be the spot where I would say this is definitely not something I would go looking for, but really there's no need because these are a relic from the past that you can't get anyway. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Do any of y'all out there actually have some of these CCI Lawman Flying Ashtrays, this actual part number? Now, I know there's a bunch of rounds out there that we call Flying Ashtrays just because they're big old opening HPs, but this particular part number are sure enough the OG. So let me know down in the comments if any of y'all out there might have some of these and what do you think about the performance you saw from them. If you did enjoy the video, take a second if you would and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you've got those notifications on so hopefully you get notified when I upload new stuff. Again, a reminder to check out those affiliate links in the video description. Anything you grab after hitting those links up, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so that really does help. Big thanks again to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. Really interesting stuff got done out here today, and I've got a whole lot more in the works, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see y'all soon.